Hi guys, I'm back for mini lesson for reading number 2. We're going to go ahead and start with vocabulary. It says, in procedural text, choose precise words to explain how to make or do something. These words help the reader understand and follow the directions in the text. Okay? Now it's your turn. It says, add the vocabulary word from the word bank to complete the chart. Then use each newly acquired vocabulary word in a sentence about making a safety plan. And we have our word bank that we talked about. And number 1 is prepared. Number 2 is emergency. Number 3 is responsible. And number 4 is memorize. So they give us an example here. So we have a synonym, which is the word remember. So which vocabulary word tells us remember, to remember? Would it be prepared? No. Emergency? No. Responsible? No. Or memorize? Yes. Memorize means to remember. Okay, so they wrote that in there for you. The vocabulary word was memorize. And an antonym for memorize would be forget, that you forget. And they came up with a sentence. The sentence was, memorize your parents' phone numbers. Remember, I told you it was very important for you to memorize your parents' phone numbers and the address where you live, just in case of an emergency. On the second one, we have a synonym, and the synonym is crisis. So what is the word? And I'm going to go ahead and cross out memorize because we already used it. So I went ahead and crossed it out. Now they want a synonym for crisis. Which one means crisis? Does prepared mean crisis? No. Does emergency mean crisis? Maybe. Or does responsible mean crisis? No. So the best word is emergency. So I'm going to go ahead and write emergency here. Okay. And an antonym for emergency is peace. That is the opposite, the antonym. And a sentence that I came up with is, we need to make an emergency plan. That is my sentence. Okay? So what you're going to do, you're going to go ahead and do the next 2. You're going to fill in what vocabulary word goes in the blanks that makes sense. And then you're going to come up with your own sentence. That's what you have to do for your vocabulary. Okay? Now, moving on. We're going to go to spelling. And this week, boys and girls, we're doing spell words with a suffix en. It says words with suffix en sometimes have a spelling change before adding the suffix. Knowing the rules for adding the suffix en can help you figure out how to spell these words. Okay? So we have here, my turn. Read the words, sort the words by the spelling change that occurs when en is added. Okay, so we have spelling words here. We have the word awaken. Okay? How many syllables in the word awaken? Awaken. We have 3. If we do it with our chin, awaken. 3. Your chin went down 3 times. We have the word awaken. Now, in the word awaken, we have the word awake. And I need to, I should have brought some chalk, and I don't have any chalk with me right now. But I want you to look at the word awaken. I think my chalk is outside, but I wanted to show y'all something. Let me see if I can. I have mark. Lovey, bring me a paper towel with water. Let me turn it over to my whiteboard quickly. My math stuff from last week, but I want to show you something. can you give me a dry one?
A dry one?
Okay, thank you. Alright, guys. So I want to show you something. The word that we were talking about, and remember, we're looking at the ending of the word. So for example, the word is awaken. Okay, so the base word for awaken is just awake. Okay, so I'm going to write the word awake. That is how we spell the word awake. Okay, now, awaken. What do we have to do? Do we add en to make it awaken? Do we have to drop the final e and then add en? Or do we have to double the final consonant and add en? This is not a consonant, so you don't have to double it. We're going to have to drop this e and add en to make it awaken. Okay, that is the rule for that one. So I'm going to go ahead and do that in red so you can see. But I'm going to give you 3 different examples. The next word is soften. Okay, so the base word for soften is soft. Okay, now, how do I make it into soften? Do I have to add en? Do I have to drop the final e and add en? Or do I have to double the final consonant and add en? All I have to do is add en, boys and girls, because I already have soft, and all I have to do is add en. I didn't have to drop an e. I didn't have to double the t. So that's the second one. Here's the first one and the second one. And then I'm going to give you a different one. This one is gladden. Okay, gladden. So gladden, how do I make, glad is the base word, so how would I make it into gladden? What do I have to do? On this one, I have to double the D, okay? And add en to make it into gladden, okay? Those are the 3 different ways to add the suffix en. On this one, awake already had an e at the end, so I had to take it off and add en. I had to drop it. On soft, we already had soft. All we had to do is add en. And on gladden, we had glad as our base word, but on this one, we had to double the consonant and we had to add en. So let's look at the rest of our words. So awaken, we already know that we had to drop the e and add en. What about given? On given also, we need to, what do we have to do? The base word is give, so we have to drop the e on that one and add en because it already ends with e. For widen, wide already ends with an e, so we have to drop the e and add en. Soften, we did that one. That one we just add en. Sharpen, sharp, we just add en at the end. Lengthen, that one length, we just add en at the end. We don't have to drop anything, add nothing. Gladden, we had to double the consonant and add en. Brighten, bright's already the base word. All we have to do is add en. On loosen, loosens with an e because loose is the base word. So on that one, we have to drop the e and add en for loosen. And for lighten, on that one, the base word is light. So all we have to do is add en. Okay? Now, I'm going to do the first one with you, which we already did. Which one can we add en? And we said that one was going to be soften. And if you go back and rewind of what I said, you can go back and fill them in because I gave you all of the answers for each one. Soften, we just add en. Which one do we have to drop a final e? Awaken. So all of the words that have base words that end in e are gonna have to drop the e and add en. So this one was awaken. And which one do we have to double the final consonant? Was gladden. Okay, so that's the first one done for you. And then you can go back and listen to what I said with the other words, and you can go back and fill in your spelling words with the suffix en. On the bottom, boys and girls, you're going to write your high frequency words 3 times, and that's what you do on the bottom. So for the first one, it's syllables. You would write syllables 3 times. And the next one is direction. You would write direction 3 times. Okay? That's what you do with this one. And then you're going to turn it over, and we're going to talk about complex sentences, boys and girls. This is your last one for reading. A complex sentence is made up of 2 clauses or groups of words with a subject and a verb. In a complex sentence, one clause cannot stand alone, a dependent clause. The other clause can stand alone. An independent clause. The dependent clause begins with a subordinating conjunction such as before, after, when, or until. If the dependent clause starts the sentence, a comma follows it. Okay? So let's look at some. Dependent clause. Before adding the sugar, independent clause, mix the butter with a mixer. So how would we fix that? Before adding the sugar, comma, mix the butter with a mixer. And then you have a complex sentence that is joined together with a comma. Let's look at the second one. After my sister got sick was the dependent clause, and then independent clause, we all went to the doctor. On this one, you're going to have to put the second sentence first. We all went to the doctor after my sister got sick. On that one, you don't have to put a comma. It is not joined by a comma. Okay? The third one, when it is cold outside, we wear warm coats. Okay? So this is how you make it into a complex sentence. When it is cold outside, comma, we wear warm coats. So there we made a complex sentence, and we put it together with a comma. And the last one, until my parents get home, I am in charge. This one again, you don't have to add a comma here. You have to switch it around. You're going to start with I am in charge because it doesn't make sense. Until my parents get home, I am in charge. This makes more sense. I am in charge until my parents get home. So that's how you would make that sentence correct. Okay? So what you're going to do, it says my turn. Edit this draft by combining dependent and independent clauses to create complex sentences. Use a subordinating conjunction to join clauses. For example, I'm going to do the first one with you, and then you're going to do the rest. Daryl and I made lemonade. We got a pitcher. We poured in the lemon juice. We added the sugar. We poured in cold water. It reached the top. We added crushed ice. We served the lemonade. We had another cup. We still wanted more. Okay, so on the first one, it says Daryl and I made lemonade. Okay, we don't have to do nothing to that sentence. Because it doesn't go with we got a pitcher. We got a pitcher goes together with we poured the lemon juice. We added the sugar. So what we would do here is we got a pitcher, and then what do we have to do here? We got to put comma. Daryl and I made lemonade. We got a pitcher, comma. We poured in the lemon juice. What would we do there? Comma. Okay? So you're going to continue making your commas where they need to. Some of them might not need commas, so you have to make sure that they make sense. Okay? So right now we have Daryl and I made lemonade. We got a picture, comma. We poured in the lemon juice, comma. We added sugar. And then what goes next? So you need to go back and look at all of those periods and make sure that you need the period or you don't need the period. Do you need a comma or don't you need a comma? Go back and look at the rules. Go back and look at what do you need to have first. Okay? Maybe you need to mix this in it. So go back and look at it and see where do we need commas. Okay? See you next week, boys and girls, for more reading mini lessons. Have a great day.